Hi, my name is Emma Ambrose, and today I'm going to be discussing Saul Bass and specifically his influence on movie title sequences. First off, we have who is Saul Bass? Saul Bass was born on May 8th, 1920, to Eastern European Jewish immigrants in the Bronx, New York. He completed a fellowship at the Art Students League in Manhattan. Then he went on to study at Brooklyn College, where he took night classes with the famous Hungarian designer Gregory Creeps at Brooklyn College. He then started his career as a freelancer for ad companies. Specifically, he was a freelancer for Warner Bros. He then moved to Los Angeles to pursue graphic design as a commercial artist. He then started his own private firm, Saul Bass and Associates, in 1952. And then he went on to have his first big break in 1954, where he was offered a job by the filmmaker Otto Preminger to design a poster for Carmen Jones. Next up, we have his career. Bass quickly saw an opportunity to use title sequences as a way to enhance the watching experience as well as stating the credits. He realized that with the correct audio and the correct visuals, one can set the mood for the mood and themes for the opening of the films or shows. In 1955, he earned his reputation with the production of The Man with the Golden Arm. He designed over 40 title sequences and posters and ended up receiving 9 awards and received 3 nominations. Next up, we have his logos. He created several different logos over the course of his career, but we're going to dig deeper into 4. First, we have the AT&T Bell logo in 1969. Then he later did the Globe logo for them in 1983. Then he went on to do the Continental Airlines Jetstream logo in 1968 and then the United Airlines Tulip logo in 1974. Again, like I said, he created several different logos, but these are just a few that I wanted to mention. Next up, we have Saul Bass's influence. He introduced a new technique for Hollywood films. This was something that hadn't been seen before, which was called kinetic typography. It's a form of animation where elements are moved, shaped, and transformed over time to express ideas and invoke emotion. This is specifically seen through North by Northwest and Vertigo, as well as Psycho. But we're going to look at North by Northwest. This opening title sequence features text that moves across the screen, flying in from off screen and then fading out. And then the text appearing on grid, then dissolving into the reflection of a skyscraper. Next up, we have what is a movie title sequence? I feel like a lot of us have seen a movie title sequence but might not know exactly what it is. So it's the introductory segment that appears before a movie's main action, showcasing the title of the film, the cast, the crew, and often setting the overall tone for the film. It's important because it really sets the mood and introduces any themes or elements of the story that just you want to know right from the beginning, as well as it creates an attention grabber for the audience. Next up, we have exploring Bass's movie title sequences and the elements that he used. First, we're going to be looking at composition. Composition is the arrangement of all the visual elements within the frame to make and create a visually appealing shot. So for Baps, he used metaphors, layouts, and then framing. So he used a lot of symbolic images and imagery to really convey his point in the themes of his movie title sequences. For example, in Vertigo, there's a bunch of different spirals and different color spirals that end up leading into the specific character's eye, which represents obsession, which is one of the main themes in Vertigo. Then you have layouts, grid, and structure, which is seen through the 9 Hours to Rama of 1963. You can see that this is a very specific grid and structure, and pretty much all of Bass's movie title sequences are very, very controlled, and everything that's in them are there for a reason, and everything seems to have a good layout and make sense together, and he really, really utilizes layouts to his advantage to make sense of the work that he was putting out. And then lastly, we have framing. So he used fragmented images to put together a larger story. This kind of goes hand in hand with metaphors because a lot of the different imagery and images that he used in his movie title sequences kind of had that dual meaning of it's part of the theme, but it's the deeper meaning of that. Next up, we have design principles. We have simplicity, contrast, balance, and movement. Specifically, I'm going to be looking at simplicity and contrast. So, simplicity, he really used a clean color palette and bold shapes. For example, this is seen in Anatomy of Murder. He used clean, cut out style body parts to suggest the fragmented narrative of a murder trial. And this is seen all throughout the movie title sequence. There's hands that are cut out. There's just different body parts throughout the whole movie title sequence that really, they're simple, but also they have a they have a deeper meaning, but it's also not gory and like doing too much for the overall movie title sequence. Next up, we have contrast. We have color, shape, and scale. This is specifically seen in West Side Story. You can see in the picture on the bottom there that he used this background, that there's kind of a lot going on in there. Um, with the different line drawings and then the set of like New York City. So this whole movie title sequence kind of goes through different aspects and different scenes in New York City. And he uses the different colors and the different shapes and the different writings to really emphasize that contrast. Next up, we have balance, and then finally we have movements, so animation and transitions. Next up, we have elements. We have shape, which is metaphors for characters, emotions, or conflict. Then we have lines. He used a lot of different movement, division, and he created a lot of tension through his line work. Next, we have color. He used a lot of high color contrast, and he didn't use very many colors. So he used black and white mainly, and then he added a couple of contrary colors, so different with high contrast or just different bold colors that really were able to pop off the black and white backgrounds. Next up, he used a lot of positive and negative space. This is seen through pretty much all of his movie title sequences, and we're going to dig into that one deeper through positive and negative shapes and spaces. So this one specifically is shown through the man with the golden arm. So the jagged arm is a stark black shape on the mostly white and empty background. So it dominates the frame, making it the positive space. Because it's such a simple, um, and it's so it's it's not like very in your face, it's very simple. It grabs the attention with shape and contrast rather than with the immense amount of detail into this specific movie title sequence. Um, the emptiness emphasizes isolation that the main character in this movie title sequence is experiencing because of his addiction to drugs. Next up, we have bold colors. This is seen in the 7 Year Itch. This specific movie title sequence is the turning point in both the relationship of the movie title sequence and it's independent pop culture art. So throughout this whole movie title sequence, there are colorful, bold squares that kind of pop up and act off of each other to play off of each other's actions. Next up, we have contrasting colors. Um, with this one, it's specifically called, this movie title sequence is Not With My Wife You Don't. And this, you can see that it's a black background, and then you have different colors popping off. And he uses a variety of colors in this one, which is your stark black background. Next up, we have silhouettes. This one I think is best shown through Anatomy of Murder. This sequence features different cutout disjoint body parts that are flat silhouettes on a plain gray background. These parts form an abstracted human figure representing the murder victim in this film. Um, this disconnected body parts are the center of the narrative in a very PG, non-gory way. Next up, we have hand use. This is best shown through the man with the golden arm. Again, the main character in this was struggling with a heroin addiction, so this just really shows the physical and emotional torment and the disfigurement and inner damage that the main character was going through here. You can kind of tell that in this movie title sequence, we see abstracted white lines that become the hand that represents the main character who is struggling with his addiction. Next up, we have transitions. This was best shown in West Side Story, I'd say. This title sequence begins with abstracted, color-filled lines. So you can kind of see all these little grids here, all those lines. There were multiple different colors that kind of flashed through and transitioned off of one another. And then all of those grids and all of those lines ended up transitioning into that New York City line that you see there. Um, this was one of the best transitions that I could find, and he used them through pretty much all of his movie title sequences, but I thought this one really emphasized on the overall transition. Next up, we have text and composition. This one I used Advise and Consent by Saul Bass. This title sequence features this bold and blocky typography arranged in kind of a grid-like formation. And the two words advise and consent are separated through interlocked bars, resembling prison bars, or interlocked with bars. I'm sorry, inter resembling prison bars, and this symbolizes both political entrapment and also the gridlock of democracy throughout. And those themes are shown in the film. Next up, we have music. The specific film that I decided, or the specific movie title sequence I decided best showed music was It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. This music was done by Ernest Gold, and it's a very playful, whimsical, comedic sound that really sets the tone for this specific sequence. You can kind of see throughout the sequence that there's um, different imagery on the sequence itself and on the screen that enhances the sound of the music. Next up, we have setting. Setting, I thought was best shown in North by Northwest, which is a very urban, fast-paced, modern America that's shown. It starts with the green grid lines that I showed earlier, and then morphs into the glass reflection almost of a New York City skyscraper. This reflection in the movement really just shows the metropolitan atmosphere, and it conveys a sleek and corporate um, world that this film inhabits, and it sets the stage for the thriller that this movie is. Next up, we have foreshadowing. This is shown through the man with the golden arm. Again, the this arm foreshadows addiction and just the struggle that the main character goes through in this film. Um, the jagged shapes and unsteady rhythm just really, really emphasize and foreshadow the instability of the main character's world. Next up, we have character building. This movie title sequence is from Seconds of 1966. So you can see that this main character is really going through torment or some disorientation that just kind of feels uneasy to the audience. So we can see that as we're watching this, they're building up the character for the audience to get an uneasy and very unsettling tone for this sequence. My contemporary comparison is for Mad Men by Steve Fuller and Mark Gardner in 2007. This was produced by Cara McKenney here in the middle. This Mad Men is about in 1960s, a man, Don Draper, kind of struggles to stay above all of his duties. He's being pulled in a bunch of different directions. He's a family man. He's a bit an advisor. He's in advertising, so he's being pulled in so many different directions, and he's just kind of struggling with this inner torment of which one is really him. So he's struggling with that identity crisis. Um, we are comparing this one to this specific movie title sequence to that of The Man with the Golden Arm. So you can see that there's a lot of monochrome colors in Mad Men and then a falling silhouette of a man. Whereas The Man with the Golden Arm, it's black and white with very minimal different colors. It's only black and white. And then the main character, the main focus is that jagged arm that turns in, that is from those lines and those different lines. Um, it relies on strong color contrast with the black and the white, whereas Mad Men is really just silhouette driven and the architecture becomes the main focus after the man in free fall is gone. Then you have a smooth falling motion. It's very easy. Um, it's not very quick and jagged. It's just very smooth and it's very ominous. And then for the man with the golden arm, it's very static and um, it's a little bit more of a harsh transition from each, and it's very tense. Next up, we have Mad Men and then Saint Joan by Saul Bass. So Mad Men, monochrome colors. Again, the man is falling out of the sky through different ads, through different skyscrapers, through a lot of just different things that many corporate people go through. And then for the Saint Joan, Joan is burning in the sequence, which is symbolic of martyrdom, faith, and sacrifice, whereas the man falling out of the sky is very symbolic of his identity crisis, his downfall. And that one has a very modern and psychological feeling to it, where the St. Joan one is very mythical and very spiritual. Also, throughout the St. Joan movie title sequence, you can kind of see just different symbols for faith and different faith items. Like there was some bells in majority of that movie title sequence. So there's just different symbols all throughout both of these movie title sequences. Next up, we have The Cardinal by Saul Bass and then Mad Men. So again, the Falling Man. And then we also have the man and then the Red Cross and the Cardinal. Um, the Mad Men movie title sequence is mainly black with just a little bit of white black. And then aside from this first shot we have here, the rest of the Cardinal is mainly black and white. It's very slow and deliberate in its transitions, whereas the Mad Men movie title sequence is um, it's very smooth and but their transitions are very quick and it's very rapid. Again, the theme for this one is identity, corporate power, moral crisis, being pulled in a bunch of different directions by your corporate job. And then you also have for the cardinal, it's a very religious conflict, and it also has a spiritual sacrifice that they're kind of trying to navigate. The cardinal uses a lot of negative space, and then the Mad Men uses kind of bold contrasting colors because that one stark silhouette is floating through different ads and skyscrapers. Next up, we have Bunny Lake is Missing and Mad Men. So again, we have the identity crisis, the downfall of the falling man, and then in Bunny Lake is Missing, we have a mystery and also an identity crisis with the missing child or doll. We have a very abstract style in The Bunny Lake is Missing, whereas for Mad Men, it's very clean and it's very modern. It's black and white with a few different colors, and then Bunny Lake is Missing is gray. For Mad Men, the main themes is corporate crisis, loss of individual identity, whereas Bunny Lake is Missing has also it has a crisis, but it's a different crisis. It's that of a missing child. Next up, we have Mad Men and then A Walk on the Wild Side by Saul Bass. So, Mad Men, very minimal, animated, sleek, and it uses music to trigger the emotion and to set the mood for the film. And I think this is the same for A Walk on the Wild Side. They have live action shots, but the music in it is very fast paced, it's very emotional, it's very sensual, which really sets the tone for Walk on the Wild Side. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the title as well. The smooth and jazz music is very slow pace, kind of goes in with the corporate and the sleek world that um, goes along with the theme of Mad Men. Next up, we have North by Northwest by Saul Bass, and then Mad Men. So again, the main themes are identity crisis and the downfall of this man. And then you have your silhouetted man. In North by Northwest, you have again a silhouetted man. You have very abstract and geometric shapes. You have bold and sharp typography. Um, you have a mood that is tense and suspenseful, whereas for Mad Men, it's more clean corporate feel. The mood is corporate. It's very professional. Um, you can really see that through pretty much all of the Mad Men sequence. Next up, we have the movie title sequence connection to the plot. So the main theme or the main um, item that, or the main character in the movie title sequence is the falling man, which really represents the identity crisis that Don Draper, the main character in Mad Men, is experiencing. He is in free fall from his real identity to his assumed persona. This just suggests the loss of control, the loss of his own personality, his own breakdowns. He's going through personal and moral breakdowns throughout the series, and that's just really shown through the free fall of the movie title sequence. Next up, we have the man falling past just glossy ads. It shows provocative women, luxury products just represent both of the world he creates as an ad executive, but also the world that he's really trapped in. And he's trying to be like this family man, but he's trapped in this corporate world. And so it's both his prison and where he's trapped, but it's also his stage. And then you have minimalism and silhouettes, which is a lack of authentic identity. So the use of a black silhouette with no facial features symbolizes anonymity and identity loss that he is struggling with. He doesn't know who he is anymore. He's trying to juggle a bunch of different character roles and he's kind of lost himself in all of that. And then it universalizes the character, showing his existing struggle. It could belong to anyone in that era. It's not just because it's this one person that it's his issue, that there's definitely multiple people that are struggling with that specific issue. Next up, we have his Mad Men's connection to Saul Bass. Um, the main one I'd say is silhouettes and minimalism. Like Bass's Anatomy of Murder, Mad Men uses the flat silhouetted figures to symbolize identity loss. Next up, we have visual metaphors. The falling man of Don is just echoing Bass's idea and use of symbolic imagery in the jagged arm with the man with the golden arm, which he's again struggling with the heroin addiction, which is it's the same idea as the falling man that's struggling with identity crisis. Next, we have motion, so simple, controlled, animated mirrors. Bass's use of motion to reflect tension and rhythm, which you can see in Vertigo. Next up, you have bold composition and typography. Clean lines, geometric forms, and restrained typography channel Bass's graphic design style. Again, he created that kinetic typography, which you can see all throughout Mad Men's title sequence. Next up, you have narrative function. It treats the title sequence as a visual overture, a symbolic preview of the main character's internal conflict. And then finally, the summary. Again, Bass was a revolutionary person in the design industry. He is remembered not only for his work, but his overall influence to movie title sequences. Without Saul Bass, I don't think that the movie title sequence industry or movie title sequence in general would be anywhere near where they are today. Again, the movie title sequence is just an introductory segment that appears at the beginning of the movie or film or TV show, which consists of the title, the credits, and gives a little bit of an idea for what we're getting into. Bass had an outstanding career. He made a bunch of posters, a bunch of ads, and he had tons and tons of um, nominations and awards that he was given for his work and for his brilliance. There are several artists who took inspiration from Saul Bass. He uses three main instruments for his movie title sequences: composition, design principles, and elements. And then in the elements, we have the use of positive and negative space, bold and contrasting colors, silhouettes, hand use, and transitions. Again, all those ones that we went through. Mad Men was created in 2007, which is what I used to compare his work to that of Saul Bass. There are a number of different similarities and differences between Madman's work, where you can see where there was ideas taken from Saul Bass, and then other ones where they just weren't really used as the same. Um, Madman uses different connections to the plot, the falling silhouette, which is foreshadowing for the lack of identity, and then Mad Men and Saul Bass's movie title sequences really do go hand in hand with creating similar pieces of work. Overall, I really enjoyed learning about Saul Bass, and I hope you did too. Thank you.